Working in this industry is my passion. It is my purpose. Jojo Oliveri, Maverick. Hello and welcome to J Curve. I'm Jo Oliveri and I'm really super excited to have my guest here today, Nick Drzayich from Coverpest. I met Nick last year at Door Grow Live in Austin, Texas, and we caught up again this year just a couple of weeks ago. And I was super impressed with what Coverpest have to offer. Very innovative. And when I told Nick about Caboodle, he was so eager to join and be part of the community. So welcome, Nick.
Thanks, Joe. It's good to be on here with you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Super excited. Now, Nick is in the US and I'm here in Brisbane. So it's evening there for you and it's kind of like afternoon for me. So
Yep, we made it work.
we did make it work. Thank you so much. So, yeah, Nick, I would love for you to share well, first of all, why you came up with Cover Pets, because I listened to your story last year and again this year. And I think that's really important. And then how Cover Pest, helps property managers to deliver a better service to owners and indeed tenants.
Yeah, for sure. So, a little bit of the backstory is my co-founder and I come from pretty different backgrounds. I actually come from an insurance background, life insurance. And so, for many, many years, I created and built up an agency in the life insurance space. And at the same time, my co-founder was doing a similar thing in the pest control world. And we always kept in touch and wanted to eventually do something together. And he happened to have a couple of clients with his pest control company that were property managers. And, he said, man, there may be a way that we can service and help these property managers and their tenants with their pest control a little bit better. And so we kind of came together and the way that I like to look at it is we kind of combined insurance and pest control and came up with a way to kind of have pest control insurance for renters. Because typically, pest control is not designed to service renters. It's typically designed for homeowners because there's typically long contracts. It's pretty expensive
Yes.
and is set up for regular recurring service, whether there's a problem or not. So we wanted to design something that was built a little bit more for the renter, that was more on demand, and that was a fraction of what they would normally pay for a long-term pest control contract. And so we came together on that and started, running around trying to find people to test it out. And it really took off, and we kind of built it from the ground up, and kind of iterated as we went and made changes and got to the point where we are today, where we've got property managers all over the country that utilize our service and include our service as a part of their resident benefit package. So renters and tenants have easy access to on-demand professional pest control, and they get to live pest free. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, that is a win-win. And you're right, because pest control can be very expensive to have their annual plans and then it becomes a battle of minds, who's responsible and owners don't want to get it done and tenants need it done straight away and there's all sorts of things that happen during the term of a tenancy in terms of pests, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're exactly right that traditionally, there's a lot of finger pointing that goes on. The tenant will always point the finger either at the owner or the previous tenant. The owner is going to point the finger at the tenant themselves. And so we just make it easy for everything to get covered with no questions asked. Some of those things that get really expensive are things like bed bugs. Again, lots of finger pointing goes on. But when a property is covered underneath our umbrella, we come in, take care of the bed bugs, no questions asked, and make sure that it's clean and everyone can kind of move on and live clean in a pest-free environment.
And it's also important for property managers because I know, my team we had a lot of bed bugs in California for some reason. And I know my team would kind of like just throw their arms in the air and say, well, the owners are blaming the tenants are blaming the owners, the tenants are, saying that they'll move out, the owners are saying no, they're not going to move out, they're on a lease. And I see this as a great solution for property managers as well as, like you've got the solutions there for them.
Yeah, and we really try to train and give resources to the tenants to really come straight to us instead of even having to involve the property manager. So another big piece of the puzzle is just saving the property manager and their team time
Yeah.
of having to deal with these issues, and that includes finding and vetting vendors, obviously scheduling and managing appointments. We want to take all that off of their plate so that their team's time is freed up for more important things.
Mm.
So, not to mention the fact that normally, as a part of a resident benefit package, our service will make the property manager a little bit of ancillary revenue because
Yes.
we wholesale it to the property manager and then they retail it to the resident, and they make, a few extra dollars per door per month, and we remove some of the workload off their plate.
Yeah, that's excellent. Do you want to explain a little bit more about how that works for the property manager, or actually it's for the property management company, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, 99% of the time, our service is rolled right into a resident benefit package.
Hmm.
And I like to say it's one of the things that's in there that doesn't include any fluff, right? Like it's an actual service. There will be someone at their house taking care of a problem that they have. So it's something that has real tangible value to it.
Hmm.
Um, so a property manager adds this to their benefit package. And as we roll it out, we inform the tenants that they have access to this, new and exciting benefit that will keep their home and their property pest free. The property manager really doesn't have to do much of anything other than what they're already doing, which is making sure inside their property management software that they've got, a GL code or an income code based on that resident benefit package. Our team goes in and runs the necessary reports every month to make sure we know which properties are covered and for what pests.
Hmm.
And from the tenant side, it's super easy. As soon as they see or have any kind of an infestation issue at their unit, they simply go onto our website, fill out the form on the homepage, and then that's when our team kind of springs into action. We have some automations on the back end that help us diagnose and dispatch for the issue that they're having. And we look for a turnaround time really quickly, usually within 2 to 3 days of them submitting the issue, is our goal to have someone at their property taking care of the problem. So,
Yeah, that's excellent. And when it comes to pest infestation, time is of the essence. You don't want any
absolutely.
delay backwards and forwards. Who's going to pay for this? Whose fault is it? And so, yeah, you're right on it because if you leave it too long, those pests can really take hold and it becomes quite expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in a multifamily situation where
Mm,
you've got connecting units and, those creepy crawlies, they can make their way to the next unit over pretty quickly. So we like to
exactly.
spring to action as quickly as we can.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great. And Nick, you cover every state in the USA?
Yeah, every state, even
Yep.
Hawaii.
That's awesome. Not Australia yet. We'll
Not
get you
yet.
down here soon. We've got some pretty big bugs here.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, we do. The spiders are like that big. So
Wow. Yeah, well, we'll be there soon enough.
yeah, excellent. And we'll do what we can to help you get down here because I think it's an awesome service. And again, it's like what you've done is you've really put your minds to it and thought of, a way that you can innovate this pest control because it has been a bugbear for the industry for a long, long time. And not just for the industry, for owners and tenants. So, this is a really great solution. And I encourage every property management company to contact you to see what they need to do to just include this as part of the onboarding of tenants and rolling it out to existing residents and just making sure it's part of the day-to-day everything that they do for the home residence package. So yeah, very, very innovative.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. It's interesting, this the whole resident benefit package world has it's really taken off over the last several years. And it's interesting to see what kind of different items property managers are placing inside those packages. I obviously talk to a lot of property managers every week, and what I'm finding is that there seems to be a little bit more of a pushback on the services inside of a benefit package that don't really add significant value to the resident,
Hmm.
with that focus being on resident experience and making it better.
Yes.
Um, So some of those things that are just a little bit fluffy and almost, just a way to add more to the list, they're trying to
Yeah.
remove those and add things in that do bring real tangible value to the resident. And
Yeah.
so, we're obviously happy about that because our service is something that is tangible. You have bugs, you call us, and then you don't have bugs. So
Mm.
it's a benefit that really means a lot to residents. I mean, there's nothing worse than living in a situation where you have, little critters and bugs and insects in your home. And so freeing people from that is rewarding, and it's something that we're looking to keep growing and doing for more and more renters across the country.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you said that so well. And I think, this industry is maturing nicely at the moment. And there was a lot of fluff, there was a lot of band-aid,
Mm.
treatment and solutions. And what we're seeing now with the innovation, it's like it's meaningful. So yeah, this is just part of it. And I know when I met you, Nick, I was just really impressed the first time I met you and when I heard you speak at Door Grow Live. And it's like, yeah, like that is something I wish I had when I was in California because I know the sort of arguments and delays and, the pushback that we had there that was so unnecessary. So,
Yeah.
yeah, th this is awesome. All right. Well, so to get started, what do they need to do? You said just go onto your website. Mm.
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's coverpest.com. And, we have some forms on there you can fill out. You can set a quick demo with us. We aim for just really, really simple. And so there's no extra software to download, no extra logins for the property manager or the resident. We just try to
Great.
make things really, really simple because,
Yeah,
we all have enough passwords to remember, I feel like. And so we just make it
exactly.
really easy for everyone involved. And like I said earlier, we try to train the residents to kind of bypass the property manager in a way,
Mm.
so that they come straight to us and the property manager doesn't need to deal with some of these issues. On the flip side of that, we do every month provide a report to all of our property management partners that lets them know these are the properties that were serviced. These are the issues that the property experienced. And if our technicians saw any kind of a red flag issue at that property. So property owners and property managers love that feature because it's almost like a second set of eyes on your property to be
Yeah,
able to understand what may be going on there. We've
yeah.
had situations where there are too many pets in a home or too many people or just situations of really unclean and unsanitary situations. And so
Mm.
we've been able to kind of bring those to the attention of the property manager and get some inspections going and get things taken care of that way. So although we do try to leave the property manager out of it for the most part, we do also keep them looped in so that they aren't just completely in the dark. We want them to know what's happening at their properties, and if there's any really red flag issues, we definitely bring those up to them right away.
Wow, that's really important because I know, like doing inspections, we always have the disclaimer on there that this is not a pest control or a pest inspection. We don't know what we're looking for. So, that just adds to our eyes on the property, which is fantastic because, the pests are invisible.
Yeah.
And I know at one point I had a property that had a termite or white ant infestation which you can't see. But I
Hmm.
just happened to push my fingers on the wooden windowsill and my fingers fell through.
Oh,
It was held together by paint. And it just so happened that that little push of my fingers then led to sending out the pest inspectors who found this big infestation that had already eaten away part of that sunroom in that property. But it was
wow.
by chance. And that's why this is important. And I remember them actually saying, so this is about 20 years ago, had I not discovered that it would have been a $45,000 job to replace all of that area if the, termites or white ants had
Yeah.
eaten a bit more. So, that was back then. You're probably looking at $100,000 now.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point. When renters are responsible, which 99% of the time they are responsible for the
Mm,
pest control, a lot of times what we see is that they will either try to DIY it themselves
hmm
or they will just ignore it, and
hmm
try to live with it. And that only makes the situation worse. And so by having on-demand pest control as a part of their benefit package, they are responsible for the pest control, but they are responsible in a way that makes it easy for them to get things taken care of. They don't
Yeah.
have to worry about breaking the bank to make a phone call to get some bugs taken care of. So it's one of those things that actually leads to just overall lower maintenance bills when it comes to stuff like this because the infestations never get out of hand. They're taken care of much quicker than normal.
Yeah, and they can be there before you know it. You know, you can do one inspection, it's all good, and next time it's like, oh my goodness, how did this happen so quickly? So it's just
Yeah.
part of owning and living in a house, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's excellent. All right, Nick. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to put details on this podcast of how to contact you, along with the link to the website. And I personally, as someone being in the industry, now I'm a coaching consultant, but I've managed big teams and companies before. I wouldn't hesitate in introducing Coverpest to everything you do. I think it's very important, very innovative, as I said, and it's just, to me, it just makes sense for it to be part of your everyday, package.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
thanks. Yeah, no, my pleasure. As I said, when I met you, it's like, I love what you've innovated here. So, well done on thinking outside the square and finding a real solution for the industry. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for letting me join you on the podcast here.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on board. All right. Well, everyone get in contact with Nick and yeah, I'd love to hear, how this has helped your business to offer a better service to your clients. See you for now.